Okay, this is section 17.1, the common ion effect. So far, when we've looked at pH calculations back in chapter 16, we did a lot of them, right? We did strong acids, strong bases, weak bases. We did salts, lots of calculations. But in each of those calculations, we had one thing in common, which was that we were looking at one solute. We were looking at HCl, or we were looking at acetic acid, or we were looking at sodium acetate. We weren't looking at mixtures. In this chapter, we are going to concern ourselves with what happens to the pH when we add more than one substance to water, to the solution, okay? Well, reasons for that we'll see as we move along, but let's talk briefly. Let's think a little bit about acetic acid. Let's say that we have an initial concentration of acetic acid. I'm going to write the chemical formula for acetic acid like your textbook does, of 0.1 molar. And let's run through a quick little calculation of figuring out what the pH is. And let's remind ourselves that the Ka for acetic acid is 1.8 times 10 to the negative 5. So how would we do that? It's a weak acid problem, right? Okay. Can't do too many of these, right? Because they're involved problems. So you got to practice a lot of them, but it takes time. Okay, so when we take a weak acid and we react it with water, the water becomes hydronium. And then we get the conjugate base, right? So then we can do the little ice table calculation. So this is 0.10 molar. We don't worry about water because it's a liquid. Liquid's not involved in the equilibrium. These start off as 0, right, on the product side. We calculate Q, products over reactants, that's 0. So Q is less than K, so that means we lose X on the left side, and we gain X on the right side for both products. So then in equilibrium, we have 0.10 minus X, we have X, and we have X. So now we come back over, Ka is 1.8 times 10 to the minus 5. That is equal to the concentration of hydronium. I'm going through each step here, right? Products, so it's hydronium times acetate concentrations over acetic acid concentration. And that would be equal to X squared over 0.10 minus X. However, it's a weak acid. Generally, weak acids have pretty low ionization values, maybe 1% or so. So for that reason, we can go ahead and simplify this expression to X squared over 0.1. Okay, nothing new here. So that's equal to 1.8 times 10 to the minus 5. So if we solve for X, we would get X squared is 0.10 times 1.8 times 10 to the minus 5. So X is the square root of that, right? Well, 0.10 times 1.8 times 10 to the minus 5 is 1.8 times 10 to the minus 6. So we're just going to take the square root of that. So let's go forth and figure that out. Square root of 1.8 times 10 to the minus 6. Square root's over here. It looks like it's 1.34, 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3. Okay, so if we wanted to know the percent ionization, we could take X, which is the concentration of hydronium, 1.34, times 10 to the minus 3, sorry, I put a 4 there, over the initial concentration, which was 0.10, and multiply that by 100, and lo and behold, you get 1.34%. So it's a pretty low percentage, right? Only about 1 1/3% is actually ionizing. If we wanted to calculate the pH, it would be negative log of hydronium concentration. So that would be negative log of 1.34 times 10 to the minus 3. somewhere between 2 and 3, right? So we've already got that value right there, so let's just take the log of it and then change the sign. 2.87. Okay, nothing new here. That's just calculating the pH and the percent ionization of a weak acid. But now the question is, what happens if we add some amount of the conjugate base to the solution? That's the issue we're going to deal with in the next couple of sections here. Section 17.1 and 17.2 is what happens when you add the conjugate base to this mixture of acetic acid, water, and hydronium. Now, you may be very clever about this, and you might say, hey, we already have some conjugate base in there, and you would be absolutely correct. The conjugate base is actually X, right? And we already figured out that X is 1.34 times 10 to the minus 3 molar, so there is some. But now what I'm going to say is suppose we add a lot. Suppose we add 0.05 molar, a much larger amount of the conjugate base. Okay, if you add that, think of Le Chatelier's principle. Think of Le Chatelier's principle. If you have a system at equilibrium and you counteract that equilibrium or take it out of equilibrium by adding something, what happens? Well, in general, if you add more of this, that would make this concentration here larger. And if you make that concentration larger, then Q would be greater than K. And remember what we said about Le Chatelier's principle in previous sections of chapter 15, is that if Q is greater than K, the reaction goes that way, to the left, to counteract that change that we made. So what would happen is some of the hydronium would react with that acetate that we added to reform acetic acid. What's the effect on the pH if that happens? If I reduce the hydronium by reacting it with acetate, this concentration goes down. What happens to the pH? That's a very good question, right? If you reduce the concentration of hydronium, if you make this number here smaller, that means the pH goes up, right? It becomes less acidic, so the pH goes up closer to 7. So in general, adding this common ion, the conjugate base, will result in a pH value that's higher than it would have been had we not added it. It will increase the pH. And this is a phenomenon called the common ion effect. Oops. So I'm going to define the common ion effect this way, just in words. Adding the product in the equilibrium will result in shifting the equilibrium to the left. That way, right? And so for weak acids, if you add to that the conjugate base, that will have a result of the pH increasing. adding the conjugate base will increase the pH. That is an example of what we call the common ion effect.